Justin Bieber tweeted at Tom Cruise that he wanted to get in the octagon. As soon as I heard that, I packed up my van and I drove out to Vegas and asked Dana White to set up Steve-O versus Justin Bieber. I know Justin Bieber can throw a punch, and I know I can take a punch.
I'm Big Zuu, and the UFC have asked me to fire 8 questions at some of the UFC's biggest and most famous fans. Our first guest is stunt performer and all-round daredevil. He's a podcaster, stand-up comedian, and author. He's currently on tour around the US with his bucket list tour and will be back on our big screens with the movie Jackass Forever. Yo, what are you saying? I'm Big Zuu, and this is 8 questions with Steve-O. Bah!
What a wonderful intro.
You know, we do try. So our first question, my friend, what is the first UFC fight you remember watching?
The first time I saw the UFC was way back in 1996. I worked in a video cassette rental store. This is how people used to rent movies. And we had a whole section for UFC fights. And I thought this was pretty fascinating and promised to be very violent. I watched it, it was one round for 25 minutes. They were kind of locked up for like the whole time. And I thought, well, this isn't very violent, So I didn't become a really diehard fan. When I really fell in love with it was when there was all the hype surrounding Ronda Rousey.
Yeah?
Yeah, I met Ronda Rousey. She had her training facility in Glendale, California, and it was attached to the little office where you would go to apply for your TSA pre-check, which would allow you to get through the airport without taking off your shoes. So I was just trying to get my pre-check clearance, and next thing you know, I'm talking to Ronda Rousey. And I really got into it. So I wanted to watch all of her stuff. And then I thought, wow, this is actually really, really exciting. So it's been 5 or 6 years that I've been pretty diehard, and I've become such a maniac for it. Like I watch every fight.
Well, when the last card I was watching, and your tweet came up, and then they gave you a shout out. I don't know if you heard the shout out, but they were like, "Oh, Steve-O's watching."
Paiva now pouring on the offense. Steve-O likes what he sees.
I felt very gassed for you.
Well, thank you.
Because getting a shout out mid-fight.
I appreciate that, yeah. Brendan Fitzgerald said, Steve-O likes what he sees. And I did.
I don't think there's anything better than getting a shout out mid-fight.
Yeah.
The tweet coming up on the screen is all good, but getting the shout out, that's the next level.
Right.
Our second question, who's your favorite UFC fighter of all time?
Ah, man, that's such a tough one. My girl and I are like both rabid fans. We sit down, we watch, for 6 hours from the Fight Pass prelims on. And there's only one fighter who, when this fighter fights, we can almost not stand the anxiety, because if anything bad happens to Rose Namajunas, it's going to destroy us. Thug Rose. We love her so much that we almost can't stand the anxiety of watching her fight, because we so don't want anything bad to happen to her. When Thug Rose first knocked out Joanna Jędrzejczyk, we were jumping up and down on the sofa like Tom Cruise doing an Oprah interview.
What is it that makes you like her so much? What is it you love about her?
I would have to say that it is her humility. I'm personally of the belief that it's possible to be a star in the UFC and have humility and respect and integrity. All of this trash talk and being the villain and being disrespectful of your opponents, like it a little bit rubs me the wrong way. I don't care for it as much as a fighter with real class, like Dustin Poirier. I was speaking with Dustin Poirier after the last McGregor fight, and I told him, I said, you know what, man, I'm not only happy for you, but I'm happy with the idea that we could usher in a new era where the stars of the UFC can be like really classy, have humility, be good people. And what Dustin said was, he said, man, that's what I want for the whole world. He said, that's what I want people all the people in the world to be like. What a great guy. I understand that the fight game is show business. It's entertainment. And so you've got to get attention. You've got to create a storyline. There is value in being disliked. I mean, take Colby Covington, for example. I love watching that guy fight. I feel so invested in disliking Colby Covington that I could almost say he's my favorite fighter. So I understand the dynamics of fight promotion. But I also just wish that that there was a real reward for being a classy guy with humility. Like Rob Whittaker. He was saying, hey, man, I know that to get the title shot, I should be talking trash and this and that. That's just not me. And that kind of hurt me in my heart. I want that for the good guys.
Well, that leads me to our third question. What is your favorite UFC fight that you have attended or watched?
I gotta say it's a toss-up between this last one between Dustin and Connor, because I mean, dude, I was sitting right next to Donald Trump and Justin Bieber. The celebrity firepower at UFC 264 was really off the charts, man. Of course, it always is at a McGregor fight. As far as actual fights go, being in the very front row watching Whittaker Romero 2 in Chicago. This happened in June of 2018. And God, it was an incredible fight. That whole event was unbelievable. And I saw it right up close in person from the front row.
I love that.
That was incredible.
You can't go wrong. I live in England, so we have to stay up till 3 a.m. to watch the fights. You're kind of like forcing your friend to stay awake to watch the fight, but
and I was at the event in Phoenix before UFC 263. I was there when Leon Edwards fought Nate Diaz.
Yes.
And I was running around like a kid in a candy store. I was running around taking pictures with everybody, and I loved it. And I saw Leon Edwards, and he was just the nicest guy. I've really come to like Leon Edwards a lot. I'm solidly rooting for Leon Edwards.
Question 4 for you. You've just started your bucket list tour, and you're making your way around the US. Yeah. You've done so many crazy things, and you survived it all to tell the tale. Is there anything even left on your bucket list? Because you and your peoples, you do crazy things.
Yeah,
you've done stuff.
Yeah, I've got a big week this week. I'm in this RV, right? This big ass RV. It's over 10 feet tall, and I'm gonna do a belly flop. I hope to. I can't promise it's gonna happen. A belly flop from the roof of the RV into a kiddie pool filled with pure urine, which has been rotting for months.
Nice.
That's Tuesday. That's tomorrow, and then on Thursday. I've purchased a smart car. These little tiny smart cars?
Yeah.
So I can crash it into a brick wall to make sure that the airbags work. I'm thinking that, and I've had them outfitted with the 5-point harness so I can come in really hot. I'm thinking like 25 miles an hour or something, like just straight into the brick wall. And that's Thursday. I had another one too. But the answer is yeah. There's more on my list, but the bucket list tour. Well, I should be done filming stunts for the bucket list tour after this week, and then the subsequent tour, which I probably won't start actually working for in earnest for another year or two, but that tour will be called Gone Too Far. We're past the bucket list, and now the bucket list will be finished, and now we're going into just ideas that are just too much. Admittedly, too much. Yeah, it's going entirely too far for me to have surgical breast augmentation. Yeah. But I want to know what it's like.
That moves into question number 5. If you was a fighter, what would your fighter nickname be?
It would probably be the name No Time is taken by it was Uzdemir. It'd probably be a joke about premature ejaculation on some level, you know, I'd be like you know, the what would be Steve-O, like the one punch chump. Something like that, like the Minuteman.
Minuteman.
Steve the Minuteman O.
Okay, so we have Steve the Minuteman O, but that leads us to question number 6. Who would you fight in all of UFC history? If you could fight one fighter, who would it be?
I mean, I did legitimately call out Justin Bieber at one point. It was the same week that Justin Bieber tweeted at Tom Cruise that he wanted to get in the octagon and fight Tom Cruise. And that as soon as I heard that, I packed up my van and I drove out to Vegas and asked Dana White to set up Steve-O versus Justin Bieber. I said, I think Tom Cruise is afraid of Justin Bieber, but I am not.
Yes.
And I told Dana White that it would be an exciting fight because I know Justin Bieber can throw a punch and I know I can take a punch. so it would be exciting.
I mean, I'm not being biased, but I feel like you can take more pain than Justin Bieber. I feel like your pain receptors are better than his.
But then there I was at the UFC 264, and I got a chance to speak with Justin Bieber, and he'd never even heard of my call out.
Well, Justin Bieber, Steve the Minuteman O, it can happen very soon.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's UFC 265 this weekend, and Derek Lewis is taking on Cyril Gane for the interim heavyweight title. You know, it's going to be a big fight. What is your predictions for this?
Cyril Gane's undefeated. His ground game's probably a threat for Derek Lewis. But if we're honest, Derek Lewis is such a likable character. All of his moments with my balls were sweaty with this, you know, he's just like such an absolute character. And on top of how likable Derek Lewis is, he's such a knockout artist that I think we've got to be rooting for Derek Lewis because it's going to be a more exciting fight, I think, if Derek Lewis wins.
I think it's in his hometown as well. It's in Derek's hometown as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how he performs. Yeah,
I don't think that the bright lights is something that affects Derek Lewis a whole lot. I think, I think it's going to be great. I actually don't have a show that night, but I have a show the following night. So I'll be watching that one at home.
Well, our last question. Who is the GOAT? Who is the greatest of all time? But in two aspects. Who is the greatest of all time in your industry, you know, in the stunt performer, daredevil, comedian world? And then who is the greatest of all time in UFC?
When I think of my career, I don't think of myself as a stunt performer or a comedian or, you know, anything else on the list as much as I consider myself an attention whore. That's really my job. You know, I'm a world-class attention whore. And, you know, if we're honest, there is no more valuable a commodity known to man than attention. So it's a real business, the attention whore business. And the you know, like the way that the business works is all about promotion. You promote to garner eyeballs, attention. And so by that measure, the best promoter is Dana White. He's the GOAT.
I love that.
Know, I'm an attention whore. I promote myself for attention, and there is no promoter that's better than Dana White.
So who is your GOAT for in terms of UFC?
For the greatest of all time, I'm going back to the good guy thing. I'm going with Khabib. I'm going with Khabib, pound for pound. I think it's a real shame that we didn't get to see Khabib fight, you know, Oliveira, Chandler. Can you imagine Khabib against Islam Makhachev? I recently saw Khabib say something very interesting about money and fame, in that it doesn't change you, it just reveals who you really are. And I think that that's actually probably pretty accurate. So the idea that Khabib has been so dominant in fighting and so successful financially and become such a huge star and really stayed true to the character that he has, I think that I've got to give Khabib, pound for pound, greatest of all time, like across the boards, for his character and for his fighting.
Thank you to man like Steve-O. I'm coming to a city near you with a bucket list tour. Make sure you go get your tickets at steveo.com for the tour dates, tickets, all that good stuff. If you haven't seen it already, the trailer for Jackass Forever is out now, and the movie will be in cinemas everywhere October 22. I know what I'm doing on that day. UFC 265 is this weekend. It's the interim heavyweight title match. Make sure you don't miss it. Steve-O, myself, Big Zuu, thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you, Zuu.